Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Series. Sometimes I also call the sessions where I speak conversations with a mentor. So I'll be taking questions and answers and contributions accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, the topic we'll be looking at is building a personal brand and cultivating an excellent work culture. First and foremost, I need to say very quickly that our individual careers is evolving. Our careers is in progress. It doesn't matter whether currently you are working or you are unemployed. It doesn't matter whether you like your job or you don't like your job. It doesn't matter whether you like your line manager or you don't like your line manager. It doesn't matter whether you are well paid, underpaid, poorly paid, or overpaid. Your career is in progress. Whatever stage and phase you are right now is part and parcel of your career. And that progress is dynamic, is evolving. 1 year ago, 2 years ago, you were the ideal brand for your career. And then your career evolved and your brand may not be in alignment or maybe misaligned. It may be slightly misaligned, may be largely misaligned, depending on the scenarios. So the brand evolution should align with the career evolution as much as possible. I also like to say, by way of introduction, that branding is based on substance and not shadow. Now, I'm not talking about you like faking it till you feel it. I'm not talking about you not being good and then packaging to appear like you are good. For example, there are instances where you have situations and scenarios where maybe an individual is absolutely incompetent, does not have the competencies for a particular job vacancies. And then you look at the job description, then you begin to doctor your CV, modify your CV, then you go and rehearse, look at 1 or 2 videos and try to come across like you can do the job. No, I'm saying you must have reasonable substance. It's like, let me use this example, and I don't mean it in any offensive way. It's like, in quotes, somebody that is not fine using makeup. In the real sense of it, a makeup accentuates your beauty. Permit me to quote one of the current political leaders. I won't mention his name, but if you know his name, you can drop it in the chat box on a lighter note. And this man says, if we didn't day, it didn't day. This is not English, just for the records. This is like broken English. I will say it again. If we didn't day, it didn't day. So you cannot brand a shadow. You can only brand a substance. So I need that to be also out there very, very early in this conversation. So this is not about deceit. This is not about lies. This is not about false appearances. This is about enhancing and accentuating substance. Now, there are many instances, especially as you grow in your career, that maybe when you make it to the final session of an interview, just as an example, the 4 people at that session, at that final level, will all be competent. Sometimes it can now be the branding, can be the look and feel, the grooming, can be the aesthetics that will now be the differentiating factor. So how do we position ourselves such that when push comes to shove, we'll be the preferred candidate? These and more are some of the things we'll be looking at as we journey together today. Now, a personal brand can be defined as unique combinations of qualities, skills, experiences, and values that distinguish an individual in their professional sphere. So branding is a combination of multiple factors: qualities, skills, experience, values. Skills are your competencies. Experience could be the kind of places you have worked. For example, your internship, your major work. Have you worked abroad? Have you worked locally? Have you, for example, worked in the north, in the southeast, in the south, in the southwest? Have you worked in Benin, Togo, Cameroon, Rwanda? All these form part of your experience. It's not just the job, it's not just the work, it's also the where. Have you worked in a multinational one-man business, and so on and so forth. Values, for example, will include things like integrity, okay, things like authenticity, things like things like honesty, things like innovation, those kind of things. And it's the combination of all these factors that an individual displays in the professional setup. Now, it encompasses how you present yourself, the reputation you cultivate, and the impact you make within your organization and industry. In a space of days, weeks, months, accumulating into years, people in the office, when I say people, from all your stakeholders, so your peers, your seniors, your juniors, your vendors, your customers, the clients, and so on and so forth. These are all the stakeholders. From the way you interface with them, you react, you respond, you treat their requests, you engage with them. All these things over time, you will hear something like, oh, Felix is a reliable guy. Oh, don't mind Shalewa, she's always full of one excuse or the other. Typically, it's not the first experience or a singular experience that makes other individuals come to a conclusion, a firm conclusion about your brand. It's typically a series of cumulative actions, activities, and of course, inactions that lead to it. Personal brand is about how others perceive and recognize. Look at that, perception. You see, we typically say that perception can be more visible, what's the word now? I'm trying to choose, I'm looking for that word, can be more tangible than what you think is your reality. Now, you may think, for example, you are reliable, but the majority of other people think you are not. You may think that you are proficient. Majority of the other people think you are not. Now, in the marketplace, whose thoughts matter more? Is it your thought or what other people think? I will appreciate your response in the chat box. So your brand, your image is not just what you think. If what you think aligns with what majority of the third parties think, fantastic. Then what you think is your image. So it's not just about, oh, I'm a good person. Do the majority of your stakeholders think you are a good person? And to what extent, to what degree, are you good at mastery level? Are you good at proficiency level? Are you good at intermediate level? Are you good at basic level? Or are you even bad? Or are you very bad? So the third party outlook, how do they see your contribution? How do they see your expertise? How do they see your personality? So it's one thing to say, oh, I'm the first person in the office, for example, and I'm typically the last person in the office. People can say, don't mind that guy. He's just waiting for traffic to go down before going home. Meanwhile, you are attributing your long stay at work, you are equating that to productivity. You are equating that to sacrifice. But other people have explained it away, maybe because they've not seen a corresponding contribution or impact. Now, a personal brand should evolve as you grow professionally and personally. Stagnation or clinging to an outdated brand can hinder future opportunities. So I'll give some examples as I go. I won't mention names or organizations for privacy's sake. For example, there was a time in my career I got a job with a fintech. Do you know what I did? My first two weeks prior to my resumption at the fintech, I had to go and shop. So this me making fun of myself. I bought a Timberland, for example, bought chinos, moccasins, those kind of things that guys wear. I had to shelve my proper suits and the likes. Within my first week of joining this particular fintech, guess what happened? People started saying, even to my hearing, that, oh, our head of HR is a correct guy. It flows. And when I see, you use, street languages, what's up, how are you? I toned down my formality to the barest minimum. Why? The previous organization was highly formal. You have to dress corporate, wear your suit, wear your tie. What am I saying? I changed my organization, moved into an entirely different industry, and I had to quickly adjust my part of my brand to fit into the industry and to fit into the organization. Though some people can say, oh, when you are above a certain age, you can't work with Gen Z. I worked with them. We loved each other. We had great fun. They cried when I left. That is the capacity to be flexible, the capacity to be what? Adaptable. Because maybe where your first job, the things you did there that made you a success can be your undoing in your next job, especially if you don't do, for example, a culture audit, environmental audit, organization, and then ask yourself, what are the new things you need to embrace? What are some of the things you are doing you need to sustain? And what are some of the things that you need to drop? Stagnation or clinging to an outdated brand can hinder what? Future opportunities. This is very important. So it's very critical that we embrace change, that we reflect on your brand so that you keep it relevant and demonstrate your adaptability, a key trait in fast-paced industries. Now, when we do this, okay, we enjoy increased visibility. When we do this, we enjoy increased what? Credibility. And then career opportunities in a competitive is very, very important. Now, let me quickly mention here an example of something that can be your anchor or your pillar, one of your anchors or pillars in branding. One of the things stakeholders consider about employees or professionals is they think, is this guy strategic or is he operational? Now, hear me loud and clear. If you are strategic and you cannot execute operationally, the strategy is going to waste last. However, when people generally say, oh, that HR is not strategic, that is not the kind of image that you want to be identified with. What is strategy? Simply put, strategy is how to move from point A to point B. Strategy is how to think critically, to surmount challenges, overcome obstacles, irrespective of inadequate resources, to get the result out. So, a brand perspective or anchor can be, I want to be known as a strategic HR. And I'm not talking about you using as your signature strategic human resources. No. I've met a few people that on their signature or on their job title, they wrote strategic human resources, and they are absolutely, majority of the time, not strategic. So this is not about a nomenclature. I mean, when your MD or your board or your line managers or stakeholders engage with you, They need to literally see from your conversation, from your memo, from your correspondences that you are strategic. One of the ways to be strategic is you should be able to think beyond your current role and understand how your work impacts the broader organization. You need to be able to anticipate future challenges and opportunities for the company. So you're not just focused only on now, or strictly on short term, not just survival for today. I hope together. So a strategic mindset, for example, can be a good brand anchor. Another anchor I would suggest to you as an HR professional or as any other professional, irrespective of your field of career, is that you need to be seen as somebody that has a strong business acumen. In other words, no matter your role in the organization, you must be conscious of how does our organization make money? How do we also manage costs? How can we solve our revenue? How can we retain our revenue? Your business acumen. So some of our colleagues, they actually have business acumen, but they don't show it. So the person that does not have business acumen and the person that has the business acumen and does not show it, ladies and gentlemen, is there any difference between them? No difference. So you must demonstrate your business acumen in your proposals, in your propositions, in your suggestions, in your engagement. Now, let me say this. We are talking about branding, building a personal brand. Even when you are joking, your joke must project your brand. In casual conversations, let's say you are analyzing the match between one team and another. Even the way you analyze the game, let it show that you are strategic. Let it show that you have what? Business acumen. Because people think when I'm in the boardroom, I will think and behave like this. When I'm outside, I will think and behave like this. No, please permit me to use this street language. As a person that is building a personal brand, you cannot afford to lose guard. I'll say that one more time. In your conversations, there's no trivial conversation. You cannot afford to lose guard because people are always listening to you. People are always sizing you up. People are always contemplating whether they should push to you an idea, an opportunity, a suggestion. So you need to understand your company business model. You need to understand industry trend. Okay. You need to cultivate financial literacy and strategic planning skills. Ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very critical. So that when you are asking for money for a project, you must show that you understand how you are making the money or how the project you are proposing to implement will make more money or will reduce costs or will mitigate a risk or something. And this must be on an ongoing basis. So I just gave you two quick pillars. Pillar one, strategy pillar. Pillar two, business acumen. Especially if you want to get to the peak of your organization, of your industry. Ladies and gentlemen, these are things to know as we package. Now, you also need to identify your what? Core values and strengths. Organizations have core values. At least almost all organizations. Whether they live out the core values or not, that's a different conversation for another day. But I ask, what is your core value? What are your core values? You see, a blue chip organization should not employ an individual that is not blue chip. So an organization with values should not employ an individual without values. In fact, when we interview, part of what we should look out for is alignment or convergence of values. Once you see divergent values, it becomes a red flag, and it can be a screening criteria when you are trying to pick your final candidate for that role, or even if it is internal for the next level. So you need to reflect on your personal values, your strengths, and your expertise. because you want to make sure that your brand is built on your value. Again, this is not a fake it, feel it. And let me say this here, and I'm saying this with all sense of respect. Now, anybody can work anywhere, and anybody can work in any organization, and anybody can work in any industry. But not everybody can succeed in everywhere. Not everybody can succeed in every industry. And part of your core values, if you realize that you are in a wrong setting or context that is not leveraging on the core of your values, what should you do? Try to find your way out into another organization, establishment, or industry that aligns more with your core. It's not like you won't go, but when we are talking about building a personal brand and cultivating an excellent work culture, it's not so that you can just be copying. I need you to enter into significance. So it's not, you must transit from survival to significance, or from one level of significance to a higher level of significance. So this can only be done when where you are working, you are not only working to earn a living, you are working to fulfill a purpose. You are working to fulfill a calling. Let me use this example. If you know any medical doctor, and the sole reason that doctor is practicing medicine is just to become a billionaire, do you really think that doctor will be a very great doctor? If the sole reason, now I'm not saying that if you are a doctor that you should not become a millionaire, a billionaire, but your core reason should be lives, people. You don't like infant mortality. You don't like maternal mortality. You want people to live. So your purpose is you believe so much in wellness. Not, oh, I want to blow, I want to amass financially. You may begin to take shortcuts. Shortcuts will look attractive to you. But if you have the right core values, you will know that it's better to take a short-term loss for a long-term sustainability. So this is very, very important. Now, what are some other ways for us to build our personal brand? You need to demonstrate expertise and credibility. So you need to, and how do you do this? It's really not rocket science. You need to source and get industry knowledge and insights. They are available online, magazines, books, in WhatsApp group, in conversations, in meetings. You need to source it. And then you need to what? Disseminate it as often as possible. Appropriate opportunities. I'll give you an example. Maybe you are the HR in your organization. You can introduce, for example, a monthly newsletter. Or if you already have a monthly newsletter, you can introduce a column in the newsletter. That column will be industry insights. You can start from, for example, scouting newspapers, dailies, for news that pertain to your industry. You collate it, read it, then you do some mental work. What are the key insights or lessons? So that will be like your contribution. So it's not just you are reporting like a newscaster. Yes, you report the information. You now tease out what could be the implication. What could we learn? What adjustments should we make? What actions should we be contemplating taking? So you infuse that into your newsletter, industry insight. People will think, why is HR the one distilling and dissemination industry newsletter? But you just show that what? You have business acumen. You are just showing that you are strategic. So that when we are taking decisions at our weekly management meeting and so on and so forth, we are abreast of recent local and international information and development around the industry. Again, participate in industry conferences and webinars. So assume you are an HR person. there are HR webinars. Please, by all means, do that. But if you are in oil and gas, there are oil and gas webinars and conferences. So, for example, as an HR person, as you are attending HR conference in Abuja, you are also attending maybe International Oil and Gas Convention. None is a, what's the word now? Is an alternative for the other. It's not either or. You must, as you are immersed in the world of HR, you must be immersed in the world of oil and gas. Same if you're in banking. Are we together? So some of us, we're in like 2 or 3 industries combined. That's if you want to assume human resources is an industry on its own. Where is your organization playing? Is it in manufacturing? You must almost become, what's the core capabilities, competencies required? So if you're in a manufacturing now, maybe that's engineering. I don't care whether you read English. You must fall in love with engineering. Try and learning about the equipment, the machinery, the processes, the turnaround, so that let engineers be doubting or be asking that, sorry, did you do civil? Maybe you're in a construction firm. Especially by the time you spend maybe 2, 3, 4 years in that organization, in that industry, let non-engineers find it difficult to believe that you are not an engineer. I remember when I worked in a facility management company, by the time we start talking about preventive maintenance, reactive maintenance, running to field, people say, let me, which comprises HR, legal, finance, and admin. We are running facility management for big organizations, both their residential, for their expatriate staff, and for some of their buildings. In our own organization, for example, we are not doing planned preventive maintenance. What's planned preventive maintenance? So maybe according to the manufacturer of, for example, air conditioning, it could be every 3 months based on active usage. We are doing what we call run to fail. What's run to fail? You will wait for the AC to spoil. Meanwhile, we are doing proposals and selling to organizations why planned preventive maintenance was cheaper and more sustainable than run to fail. By my 3rd month in that organization, I introduced PPM for all our equipment. I said at management meeting that if we are selling PPM, planned preventive maintenance, and we are using run to fail, what are we telling our employees? And we imbibe that culture. Now, I'm not an engineer, and there are engineers in the organization who are comfortable with run to fail. Say no, that will make us a hypocrite. That will make us not true to our organizational brand. So showcase your learnings. Make sure that the gap between what we know and what we are doing, we bridge it. Very important. Now, pursue professional certifications to demonstrate ongoing development. I know that sometimes some people think we are too certification conscious in Nigeria, but let me say that I'm not just talking about just any certification. I mean relevant certifications. Please do your due diligence, especially foreign certifications. Dollars is not easy to come by. You don't need to have 5 certifications. If you have 2 or 1 and you are involved, immersed in that one, it's not just getting certification after certification. If you claim to have a certification in a field, for example, and we interview you, we have a conversation, you must be sound. And at any point in time, jokingly, I tell people that if you tell me that right now or first thing tomorrow morning you want to interview me on any area of HR, I'm claimed to be a chartered HR practitioner, then it means I'm a master. So please pursue it. I know 1 or 2 people on this call, you started and stopped. Go back to it. It's better you have the certification and you don't need it than you don't need it, than you don't have it and you need it. Don't listen to some of the people who say don't get it. 1, the era they came to this world, it wasn't really relevant. When they were younger, there were not many. Now, the options are too many. So you need to be competitive. Err on the side of you have it, but you don't need it, than to say, it doesn't matter. Me, I have it too. I have just like 3. It's okay, I have 2 masters. But I don't need it. But I have a PhD, but I don't need it. So have it and don't need it. Don't come and be regretting, because there'll be 1 or 2 opportunities that the door will not even open in the first place. Or that could just be the determining factor. Or let me say this, and I've experienced this. I don't know if you've worked in an organization where there's a change of ownership. Maybe some investors come and buy your company. Then when they buy your company, they will now bring maybe auditors. They will say, let's check. They want to know which staff to retain and which staff to so to speak, excuse out of the organization. Then they begin to say, okay, check everybody on the road. Do they even have the minimum qualification and relevant certifications for the job? Then you say, oh, I've been in HR for 10 years. CIPM, you don't have it. Please. Don't. And that's being strategic. Don't say because today the people in your organization don't mind. They know your competence. What if they sell your company tomorrow? They won't take your permission to sell your company. So have what it takes in any standard global organization to work. And it's part of branding. I don't know if you've seen how organizations, for example, will say, we are ISO certified. They will say, oh, Sun has certified us. They'll be calling. So organizations have certification. It's individuals that don't need it. Think about it again. What do you have to lose? It is a sign of competence. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are getting some value from this conversation, let me see your comments and reactions in the chat box. You see, as you are going on in this brand journey, it is about authenticity and not just perfection. People think once you say brand, it means you are perfect. No, we are all on a journey. I just aspire to be a better professional today than I was last year or yesterday. Some professionals try to project a perfect image. That's not it. No, that's beside the point. Authenticity is more important. A personal brand that resonates with real values, strength, and even vulnerability builds deeper trust and connection. On the HR mentorship WhatsApp group, I shared an information, I think last week, and I made a spelling mistake. And somebody on the group responded on the group and corrected my mistake. And I responded. I said, thank you so much. Well appreciated, boss. Somebody reached out to me privately and said, what's the other person feeling like? That even if the person wanted to correct me, why can't they correct me in private? I said, it doesn't matter. Is the correction genuine? Is it correct? Please, me, I love feedback, whether private or public. But if I was the one providing the feedback, I will have provided it privately. That is my choice. That doesn't invalidate a public word. Feedback. Somebody said, see the way you took the correction. I say, yes, if you think I'm good, it's because I'm always taking correction. Nobody knows it all. Nobody knows it all. You must be vulnerable. At least that you are making mistake means you are doing something. People don't do anything. They don't make any mistake now. So transparency is key for credibility and long-term relationship, both in person and offline. All right. So it's very important that we align our actions, our behaviors, and communications with our personal brand to present a genuine image. It's very, very, very important. Very important. Now, you know, we're in the 21st century. That's crystal clear. And I like to say here that if this was a physical class, in fact, I would have loved us to do it right away, even though that we are probably on our devices in this conversation. If you go to Google and you type your name, one, will your name show up? Two, if your name will show up, what will it be associated with? On how many platforms will it show up? For example, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, and so on and so forth. How many times will your name show up? If 5, 6, 7 people are bearing your name, will it even be your own name or the other people who are behind of communication, correspondence will be identified with you? Now, I'm not trying to shake any tables there. If you are not an investor in a football club, such that you have shareholding in the club, if I call up your name, why should Chelsea, Arsenal, Man will be the first thing about you? Is that what is giving you income? Why is Avid Arsenal till I die what is showing up? You may be shocked that even the owner of Arsenal or the core investor in Arsenal, you may check him online and you may need to get to page 2 before you see Arsenal. I'm trying to say, when we are talking about personal brand, we are linking it to your commercial success and viability. Let the things that will show up show your competence, show what we can pay you for. Do I want to pay you for your club membership? Absolutely not. So you need to be intentional with the kind of things you post. I'm okay with occasional banters and the likes, but I mean consistently. Some people every weekend they must post their club. Every weekend. Are you a shareholder? Why are you crying more than the bereaved? I want to see the things that speak to your capability, the things anybody or any organization should be interested and willing to pay you for. So it's not just having online presence, it's having it for the right thing. What is my business that South Africa and Nigeria, they are bantering? Who help? The only winner in all of this is that lady. She had issues in South Africa, now she's contesting for Miss Universe in Nigeria. How are you earning money from the communication and conversation? Same thing, politics. You'll be fighting for people that just this weekend, one of their daughters got married. All of them were in the party. They didn't invite you or me. Sell yourself. Stop selling other people. Stop selling people that don't care whether you exist or not. Can you, for example, do a weekly blog on your industry? Share information on your LinkedIn once a week or once in 2 weeks or once in a month that people will say, oh, if you need this information, go to this person's timeline. You'll be enriched. It takes a lot of hard work and intentionality. It's not random. You see some of us come again and again, speak and share like this. You think I don't like fun, but this is fun to me. And this is what will equip and empower me to have the kind of fun I desire. Build your personal brand. I've lost count number of people, for example, who come to do a webinar for us, and from that webinar, they get business transactions. They didn't come to market. They just thought. And then people say, Oluyemi, please, the person that spoke on so, can you give me their number? Before you say, Jack, the person is running a training program for them, paid from a free event to a paid event. I've lost count. In fact, I remember one of my friends, HR colleague too, he did a webinar like I'm doing for you right now. And 2 days later, he had gotten 3 interviews. Just they say, if you thought that, please, we need you for our L&D role in our organization. What are you pushing out? Then you need to be consistent across all your touch points. Okay, use your personal brand. It's not just LinkedIn. Your personal bio, your emails, your WhatsApp. You need to be consistent. Your Facebook. So I know some people, they say, oh, they would like to be very playful. So on Twitter, they have 2 Twitter accounts. One Twitter account that is them, and another one that is what do they call that thing? Parody or something. Fictitious. So they are playful on the fictitious one. The one that carries their name, they are very professional or sell things that matter to their life and destiny. Are we together? So even if you are sending a WhatsApp message to your line manager, if you can, avoid abbreviation. if you can, be as polite and professional as possible. This is part of your brand. Don't lose guard. Don't be caught off guard. Sometimes inconsistent messaging or behavior can do what? It can dilute your brand, causing you confusion about your professional identity and values. I remember one footballer, I'll mention his name. Some claim he's one of the greatest of all times. Some say he's the GOAT. His name is CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo. He was doing an interview on TV, and then there was a particular product, I won't mention that one, on the table. As soon as he sat down, he was responding to questions, he saw that particular product, he took it off the table and put it on the ground and left only water. In other words, this is what I identify with. People see me and this particular thing, it's going to rub off on my brand. Sometimes you may need to unfollow some people. You may need to delete some things. So you may need to go and do like an audit of your past communication. If there's anything that can belittle your future, please. Now, when we talk about branding, personal brand, networking is very key. And I need us to be open-minded here. I'll give an example. So maybe we go for an HR event. Let's say we're like 200 there. This is hypothetical, by the way. Maybe there are like 15 or 20 senior HR people there. Maybe 50, 60 mid-level HR people. Maybe like 80 junior level HR people. You will see maybe like 20 people they want to talk to, maybe a YF, for example. And I don't have any problem with that. Or maybe 10 people want to talk to me. I don't have a problem with that. But do you know that your peers right now, or just a little your senior, may be more instrumental and influential and relevant to you than me? So when I'm talking about networking and relationship building, I'm talking 360. What do I mean? As you are trying to network with, so to speak, industry leaders, senior people, also be intentional with people just above you, people your peers, and even people your junior. Let me say this loud and clear. I have received more help in my HR journey from junior HR people than seniors. Let me say one more time. I have received more help from HR officers, HR supervisors than HR directors. I've gotten more opportunities. So if, for example, I enter a Marriott today for an HR event and I have the opportunity of greeting 5 HR directors or greeting 20 junior HR people, I will go and greet those junior before I come and struggle to greet the directors. So I'm trying to say, don't underestimate any category in your stakeholders. Network with cleaners, drivers. They can give you leeway in an organization. Don't just be friends only with the PA of the MD or the MD or the C-suite. Please, that's eye service. I'm not trying to be religious here. You cannot determine your helper or your helpers. And you cannot tell God that God must use only senior people to bless you. He can use a cross-section of people. So be friendly, be polite, be warm, across board, please. Don't try, you say something, then someone your level, you're not cold. Please, you may be missing opportunities on this. So proactively connect with industry peers, mentors, thought leaders, both online and offline. Now, for those of us who try to connect with senior people, let me say this. They didn't send me to you, but let me speak for them. Let me use myself as an example. And I'm saying this with all sense of modesty and humility and with gratitude. I don't take it for granted. Do you know that on my LinkedIn, sometimes I get 50 messages in a day? And I'm not being paid to respond to LinkedIn messages. So please, be compassionate, show mercy. Don't take offense if they don't respond to you on time or at all. My last birthday, last year, November, there are still some I've not responded to today. Why am I saying don't take offense? Some people will take offense because you didn't read or respond and then ignore you going forward. I've seen some people that It was their third, fourth message to me that I saw, responded to. Then I now saw that maybe they've chatted me, and now, oh, of course, I do my best. I try to apologize that, please, there's an oversight or something. But don't take offense with senior people. Please, you have nothing to gain by taking offense with them, and call them some slack. And you may call them and they may not. For example, I'm in this webinar now. Anybody that calls me between 7:15 till 9 or 9:15 cannot get through. It's not my fault. I'm in a session. And don't, for example, call 8, 9 Monday morning. They will be in business leadership meeting. Please now. I'm saying this because some people say, forget that networking. I try to reach out to one so person. The person's not. No. Then please, as I wrap up on this particular topic, come from the approach of what can I do for you? For me, this always works wonders. Everybody is a taker. Oluyemi, give me this. Oluyemi, give me that. When somebody says, Oluyemi, can I help you with? It sounds different. It feels different. Somebody says, Oluyemi, I suspect that you do a lot of PowerPoint presentation. Can I help you with it? And I'm giving a real life example. And I'm not saying you should do this, please. I'm just giving an example. And that particular person helped me like 6 PowerPoint presentations in like, say, 6 months. So it's not as if every day. I was the one that said, hey, bring your CV. I now save that person's CV on my desktop. You know, from time to time, people will say, Oluyemi, please, I need a reliable HR officer or HR supervisor. Because genuinely, and this guy had done 6 PowerPoint projects. I saw that the time he committed to, he met it. The quality, he met it. So I knew that he was reliable. I wasn't open. So when I was voluntarily, and I became his promoter, how did we get there? No, the guy didn't come and meet and say, Oluyemi, please, I want to change my job. You know, 50% of people, once they say, come and mentor me, in the sense they want change of job. But instead of them to say, bros, I want to change job, can you help me? They will now use, let us mentor. By the third conversation, you see their true color. What I'm trying to say is that we all need help. You need help, I need help. So when I try to help people, opportunities will naturally come, and then they will be able to. You don't have any relationship or rapport with me, you say I should come and refer you. Do you know what a referral means? A referral means you can hold me accountable for this person's success or failure. What have we done together that I'm referring you on or on? Are we together? So network, relationship, this is very important. But approach it from, you bring something to the table. You come to give. When you come to give, you will obviously gain. You will get. So it's not like a free, there's no free lunch, even in Freetown. I alluded to this, that why strong networks are important. Weak ties, acquaintances can be unexpectedly valuable in building a personal brand. They offer new perspective, opportunities, and connections outside your what? Immediate circle. Okay, cultivate a broad network, including weak ties. Okay, this is very, very important. Now, one of the things in building your personal brand, one of the fantastic, my friend and colleague here, Demola Obasaka, they says, boss, a graphic designer got me an HR gig with a company that I never knew existed. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Cowdy. Now, feedback and iteration. You see, especially at the workplace, I noticed this, and it's not a new phenomenon. So it's not like a Gen Z. No, even when I was just starting my career, even with my peers, when maybe we go and meet a line manager, and maybe in quote now, they criticize your work. Guess what most people do? They start running from that person. Meanwhile, as I began to mature and grow in my career, and please, you don't have to take my word for it. Please, I'm just speaking from my experience. So it's not like a law or casting stone or iron. I asked myself one day, I think I spent 10 years in HR. I listed like the top 10 HR seniors I had worked with. Then I split it. Now, this is hypothetical. 5 of them were nice. 5 of them were in quotes tough. I don't want to use the word nasty. Let me say tough. I said, after 10 years, these 5 nice people and these 5 tough people who have ultimately helped me the most. Shocking answer and reality. It was the tough people. Now, if I want to be mushy, you say, oh, this one, it will take you for lunch. If this one meets you in a bus, it will pay for your tax. But you will realize that is the, so to speak, colleagues seemingly critical of you that brought out and sharpened your competency. So what am I saying? If you want to grow and develop your personal brand, don't gravitate towards only people you like or people who always, are always showering you with praise and encomiums. Your growth will be suboptimal. So seek feedback, to improve your personal brand, be open to constructive criticism. So don't maybe avoid projects that include those kind of critical people. They will and can only bring out the best in you. Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, let me recap what some of the things we've done so far or spoken around. Share your expertise, embrace continuous learning, champion advocacy. There will always be things you can lead in your organization. It will be something meaningful to the organization, to the leadership, maybe a CSR initiative. They want to clean an environment. They want to do something in primary or secondary school. Volunteer. Communicate effectively. That's very important. Communication, both spoken, written, online, offline, paper, very important. Lead with authenticity and empathy. Your outlook and appearance counts. Please. They say, man looketh unto the outside, God look inward. It's men you are dealing with on earth. So we look at the outward. And you don't need to break the banks. Somebody will say, if you go to Tejo show, you get some decent clothes. And you won't have to break the banks to do so. You understand? Look well, dress well. I remember we did a webinar some time ago. One of my friends, we did the webinar 8 p.m. Saturday evening. The guy wore 3 suits, agbada, if there's any word like that. I had to call him at the end to say, my brother, you dress for our webinar like you are going for Atiku's daughter's wedding. He said, yes. He said, it's a webinar. I'm at home. Same thing. Stella Obialo, who spoke yesterday, see the outfit I'm wearing. You don't know who is watching. So your outlook and your appearance, so be neat, be smart, be clean. You don't have to go out of your way or go into debt or borrow, please. Now, let's look at some of the challenges or problems you need to overcome when you are building your personal brand and cultivating an excellent work culture. You need to beware of what we call the imposter syndrome. In other words, and I get a lot of calls from HR colleagues, and I've met with a lot of HR colleagues. I'll give you an example without mentioning names, organization. One of our colleagues 6 weeks ago called me, and she said, Doctor, our head HR in our organization left. So there's a vacancy there. In fact, I've started sourcing for CVs for the role. She now said, the MD now called and said, you've brought maybe 5 CVs for the role. Why are you not applying yourself? Said, sir, I don't think I'm good enough. This imposter syndrome. She now told the MD that, please let me think about it. That I don't just want to maybe come and apply for application sake or just run through the process and not get the job. So she called me. After speaking with me, I said, my lady, please apply for the job. But do this. I sent her 4 or 5 YouTube. So watch this YouTube, watch this, and watch it from the approach that you can cut the long story short. In this instance, she got the job. She has thanked me over and over again. Now, I've also met, because I need to balance things out. So someone said, I want to call Oluyemi Adeosun, you will call the job. I've also met and counseled people like that. They applied and they didn't get the job, but they were better people. Do you understand? So, I like balancing information out, Beware, say no to yourself. I've seen people, and I are still HR officer. Why now? 5 years, you are still officer. Why now? When will you grow? Please, with 10 years, it's even enough to be manager. I know organizations that once you're a graduate, they can even hire you as assistant manager to start with. And I'm not talking about just any organization. One of my mentors, Adeola Kim, he left Ife, Obafemi University, went Procter and Gamble as assistant manager, straight from school, from NYSC. Permanently, officer. Or some of us, maybe it's the manager, we've been stuck for 8 years, 10 years. When will you transit to senior manager? When will you transit to vice president? Please move up. So avoid imposter syndrome. All this, head of department, HR director is for some people. No, you have what it takes. Recognize and overcome feeling of self-doubt by stepping into your own power and embracing your potential. The second one is you need to navigate. There are people in the organization or in the system, they always know what can work. You need to manage reputation by aligning. Don't let people put you down. Me, when I get anywhere, people, when you are new, especially organization, they'll tell you the good things, they'll tell you the bad things. Me, I'll say where I was coming from. I grew there. I was promoted there. I got salary increment there. In this place too, I will be promoted there. I will grow here. I will get salary increment here. Ask for who are the people who have succeeded in this place. Align with them and align your thoughts and mindset with their own. People will always struggle in every organization and every context. That doesn't have to be your word story. You need to avoid that cancel culture. It's very, very important. Now, let's quickly cruise through cultivating an excellent work culture. Now, I told you that personal branding is built and based on what? Substance, not shadow. So this is not packaging. We are like you are. When we say natural, I woke up like this, you are beautiful. We now give you makeup. You are already 85 over 100. Makeup now augment from 85 to 100. Not that you're on 20 over 100, we now put makeup. No, that's not what you are already excellent. You are already excellent. Okay. All right. So some things, they are like reminders, but don't joke with it. Reliability and punctuality, they count. I'll give you one example. I was working in an organization, and we met in that organization. I think like 6 of us. It was an internal vacancy. That organization, they first do internal vacancy. Is when they can't fill internally, then they do external vacancy. So we, like 6 people applied. All the 6 were shortlisted. We interviewed. We did first level interview, second level interview. By third level, we were only 2 left. Now, the 2 of us, both of us had a master's degree. Both of us had worked for around the same length of time in the organization. Both of us were rated high. So they now said we should meet the executive director. So the executive director now met the 2 of us. He now called the panel that did the second to the final level interview to say, guys, I like the 2. I'm confused to who should I take between the 2? They said, to be sincere, that any of the 2 that it takes, that they are sure that we'll do the job. The ED said, okay, since you guys are undecided like me, please check their attendance record. Guess what? And this was a place we used to clock in. So it's not like an attendance record that somebody can sign for you or something. In the time window under review, I didn't come late even once. This guy came late only 2 times. I got the job. The person said, "Do you want to tell me that this guy was never sick in this window? There was no traffic, that this guy is what? Reliable based on punctuality." Again, we had ticked all the other boxes. We had ticked all the other boxes. So it's not as if that's the only criteria. But please, don't have this, maybe, some of us work in organizations where they don't really care. If you like come 10, if you like come 8, that people care. Is there where maybe they need to take somebody to a high-profile meeting in the morning? So that guy doesn't come early, he will let us down. Professionalism, whatever that is, professional demeanor, dressing, communication, everything, please. And let me say this, some of us, maybe we are working in a small place or in a role or a unit. Don't look at where you are now. Look at where you are going. Please, don't dress for where you are. Dress for where you are going. Don't dress based on, in quote, how they are paying you now. Dress for how you want to be paid. Again, don't have to break the banks. Take responsibility, take ownership. When you make a mistake, don't try and conceal it. Escalate it by yourself. Apologize. Show or suggest remedial action and how you avoid those kind of mistakes in future. Don't try and conceal it and hope they won't discover. They will discover and you come across as fraud. Please, as much as possible, initiative. You need to be flexible and adaptable. Okay, you need to also collaborate and work as a team with other stakeholders. And please, as much as humanly possible, embrace ethical behavior. Maybe you go and buy something for the organization, you are now marking it up. Those kind of things, they have a way of busting, and it will blow badly on your face. You will be embarrassed, your integrity will be brought to permanent disrepute. Please, I'll give 1 or 2 examples. Where most of us are HR people. So a lot of places have done HR and admin together. And I'm saying this very honestly. I've lost the number of times our vendors will call me and Oluyemi, take. Guess what I always do? I always rejected it. And one of the reasons why is that my father had told me that the vendor you are collecting money from, how are you going to supervise the vendor? How are you going to insist on certain minimum quality requirements? I'll say, that thing you want to give me, give us as a discount. Guess what? I worked in a particular place, I won't mention the name. Unknown to me, it was the owner of the business, was a cousin to the vendor. The MD actually told the vendor to give me that money to test me. Me, I didn't know. Of course, they were not sharing the same name. Later, the owner called me and said, "Oluyemi, you passed my test." And I said, "Test?" In my mind, I was like, ask me any question that maybe I was struggling to respond. Didn't give any assessment. Said, "Oh, do you know so and so?" I said, "Yes, it's one of our several vendors." He said, "It's my cousin. He told me how you vehemently rejected the money he gave you, and you told him that I should give it as a discount to the organization." My legs were shaking. As in, I said, my God. Problems. But please, let us be what? Circumspect. Don't let the short run endanger our long run. Please. Ethical behavior. I know we say, in this Bala Blue economy, please. The money you need, you can get it legitimately. Or there will always be legitimate doors for you. Please, look beyond all this practice, be conniving with vendor, be taking company property. Please, it's not going to help you. It's not going to take you far. It's not going to enhance your brand in any way. Okay, so we've spoken about efficiency and productivity. We've spoken about continuous learning and improvement. Again, I'll be very down to earth here. I know some people, quote, they can't work well with Muslims. Or some people, They say, I can't work well with Christian, or no, I can't work well with Jehovah's Witness, or I can't work well with an atheist. No. See, your religion, for example, is your personal, in your house. In the workplace, it doesn't matter the religious affiliation of the people, you must be able to work with all of them. And if you are working in all these multinational, they have, in Nigeria, as of today, we have 2 gender, male and female. Some, you have qua, binaries, transgender, whatever. Please, don't take your religious belief, don't let it affect your professional relationship. Yes, if they invite you for party after, you may not go for that one. But the one on the job, please, work with people of different faiths, different religion, different tribes. Please, don't lose that. Don't be the one that will say, all these Hausa people, all these Igbo people. And let me say, all this, we say it's all these Ijebu people. Please, those kind of careless statements have robbed people career opportunities. You said Ijebu did something. One Ijebu person heard, he blocked your promotion 3 years later. Funny enough, people don't forget those slight things. So that's why I said, even when you are joking, remember your reputation. Please, don't come across as a racist, as an ethnic or religious jingoist. Please. Even this club banter, I know people, because the MD was in another club, he blocked something for somebody because that person was in another club. Those of us who know, we knew that this is why he stepped this thing down. On club affiliation, to your law. Me, I support all clubs. All clubs will prosper. If you say up this, I say up it with you. Up that, I up it with you. I beg. Are we together? So, also, the final aspect of this respect for diversity and inclusion I would like to mention is also diversity of thought. Everybody must not think with you or think like you or have your own point of view. Even in HR, there are different schools of thought. So, it's okay to say, oh, this is my opinion. You have had your opinion. If that person is senior to you, no problem. Let us run with your what? Opinion. If like maybe both of you are past, okay, since we are not able to agree yet, the good thing is our objective is the same. It's our methodology that is slightly different. Let us go to the director or to the CEO or COO. Whatever the management decides, let's work. Most of the time, both opinions can actually work. It's just maybe preference. So please also have respect for diversity of thought. So when you are maybe in meetings and so on and so forth, don't try and make other people's contribution stupid or shambolic. Don't try and show that I have the latest data from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics you are using for, no, don't make, you can say, oh, I suspect that you may not be aware of this recent development. Note, you say, I suspect. Don't use words like you are ignorant. Just say, okay, this is the data or this is the latest information. If, however, you check this information and you still maintain the same position, no problem. Respect diversity of what? Of thoughts. All right. As we close our tonight's session, please take initiative on your decision and action. Concentrate on what you can influence instead of being driven by external forces. Okay, visualize your own goals. Start with a clear vision of your future. Please, you can't outsource your career development to a third party, not to your management, not to HR or your boss. Take ownership. Prioritize what matters. Focus on what is important, not just what is urgent. And that's the personal mastery, self-leadership. We also have relational excellence and collaborative success. Aim for mutual benefits. Stephen Covey calls it win-win. Ensure that relationship and negotiations with a mindset that seeks outcome that is beneficial for all involved. Again, listen to understand first. Practice active listening to understand others' perspective before presenting your own views. Even if you are sure, please listen. And people know when people are listening. Please listen. Calm down. Listen. Even if your thoughts are superior and better, now say it politely. And be willing that maybe your own opinion will not be taken. Embrace teamwork. Aim for mutual what? Benefits. Listen to understand. Renew yourself. Let's recap what we have learned today as we wind down. Define your what? Personal brand. Understand values, strengths, and aspirations to establish a strong personal, professional identity. Be consistent across platforms. Ensure consistency in your online and offline. Please be consistent, even in your joke and in your reality, please. Party. You add what happened in a particular organization when they went for a party and what happened. And that person was suspended. It was not what happened at work that led to his suspension. It was what happened at a party. You can also get a promotion from a party. Demonstrate expertise. Cultivate relationship. Embrace authenticity. Seek feedback. Be mindful of your digital what? Presence. Ladies and gentlemen, note as we close that it is important to know that personal brand, strong work ethic, please, is not a substitute for productivity. It's not a substitute for shallowness. No, it should complement substance. Building a personal brand takes time and consistent efforts. It can be a powerful tool for employees looking to advance their career. Note, and I will end on this note, visibility should not be mistaken for eye service. At least everybody that is senior to me and at par with me, we can smell eye service very quickly. And eye service could be, some people, they'll come, good morning, sir. How are you, sir? They're greeting you. They will be messaging you. We know eye service from 25 miles away. Visibility and eye service is not the same. So don't show up for showing up sake. I know some people in the name of tweeting or blogging, anything that happens, they will go and so that died. So I will ask, what's the relationship between this and the HR now? Or what's the relationship between this incident? Some of them will even misinterpret the thing. Don't blog for blogging's sake. Don't comment for comment's sake. No, they are not just trying to be out there. Measure it, time it, be deliberate. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope sincerely I've been of some value, support, service. I would like to take comments, contributions, or questions, and so on and so forth. So I'm seeing some comments here. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your feedback. Thank you so much, Nkechi. Thank you so much. So Omotola is asking here that, what if the vendor has done the job and after the payment, the vendor decides to tip you? Let me tell you what we do where I work currently. Those of, at least you know where I work and you can easily check it out. Look, once anybody gives anybody anything on the basis of the job, we give it directly to the organization. There's a department in the organization that collects it and keeps it. At the end of a period, maybe at the end of the year, all the gifts or the cash, whatever it is, they will now share it equally to all staff. Note, you are not the only person working in that department or in the organization. No. Just because you are the interface with the vendor. Please, it's better to be safe than sorry. My 2 cents, my 2 cents. It's better to be safe than sorry, because some of those people who give those tips, they are not doing it from a good mind. They are doing it like, I don't want to use the word seed now, because they are doing it like, we'll give you this so that when next they bid, you'll be compromised to give them the job. Like, Shebi, I saw you the last time. Shebi, I gave you. They use terms like, oh, it's just, and avoid it completely. If you can, please. I'm begging you, because what you will gain is more than what you can lose if it backfires. So let me start with Temitope, then I'll go to Coyote. Temitope, you have the floor. You can unmute, Temitope.
Good evening, sir. Thanks so much, sir. Yeah, thanks so much for this section. This is a very great one, and I think it's so timely for me. Okay, so I'm just new to the HR world, and I just love it. Like, it's something I'm passionate about. But talking about this personal branding that you spoke about this evening, although I came late to the meeting, but there's this question that is on my mind. Take, for instance, I'm someone that loves human resource, but I also have a thing for emotional intelligence, like psychology. So if I want to write about my brand, like maybe I want to project my brand out there, how do I infuse this? Because I know that there's a sync in between human resource and emotional intelligence, psychology, like this emotional intelligence stuff, so mental health. So how can I infuse this together that is not projecting maybe two different things, but they're just the sync? I don't know if you understand my question, sir.
I understand. And from where I stay and stand and sit, you don't have a problem at all. You can just be writing on emotional intelligence as it relates to HR. Emotional intelligence, how does it improve workplace productivity? Emotional intelligence, how do you use it when interfacing with irate customers, internal customers? So you know the solution already and you said it. I like your question. Your question carried the answer. Just relate emotional intelligence to HR. So that way, even though you are speaking on emotional intelligence, you are also speaking on HR. And there's no way you can practice HR successfully, sustainably, without emotional intelligence. So there's no dichotomy. They are well aligned. So feel free to go ahead and discuss from time to time around the two. And over time, you may see that maybe later you may not be speaking about emotional intelligence again, maybe something else, and you continue to evolve. Because what you are speaking about or passionate about, I speak a lot. What I was speaking about 3 years ago is not what I was speaking about today. And it's probably not what I'll be speaking or writing about in 2 years' time. That's why I also started the conversation around our branding also evolves. Also, what we are focused on in particular about too is dynamic. So if emotional intelligence is on your heart, on your mind right now, write about it, relate it with HR, and then all of us will get blessed. There's no emotional intelligence community like that. It's for humanity now, and HR is for humanity in the workplace. Okay, I hope that helps, Temitope.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. This is perfect. Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
I really appreciate it.
Howdy, you have the floor. Then we'll go to Nkechi, then Omotola.
Thank you, boss. So I really appreciate like this particular topic is actually one that I'm particular about. I talk about it passively and actively. And you touched on the imposter syndrome. I'm someone that affected a bit. But for us, if you say because people probably won't hear you what to say and you are keeping to yourself, then you are short, you are not allowing people that should learn from you to learn from you. So see, I understand that we have all this saying, oh, what if I write this thing, people feel somehow. But just write it. I just write. Like people see what I put on the other. I can't do have this. I say, I'm just an HR guy. I don't know anything, but I'll be able to take experience from this person, from this person, from this person, to then put them together and then write something. So I said something inside. I said, visibility is key. I probably won't be where I am today. Meaning, I won't be in Lagos today if I was not visible on a WhatsApp group that got me a job in Lagos State from Abeokuta. So yes, we have all these things, but please, as much as we could, let's but like you said, please, visibility not our service. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kaude, for your contribution. Very well said. Nkechi, you are next, please.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I am really happy to be in this webinar. So my question is a bit different from what we discussed tonight, but I hope you don't mind me asking.
Yes, I'm in a good mood. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Okay, so I work as an HR manager, and I have a colleague who is also a senior staff member. She rarely takes suggestions from her team. And even when she does, she claims she has already mentioned it before, but no one listens to her. But the suggestion doesn't come from her. She tends to dismiss it as invalid. Now, my question is, her team is already started complaining. My question is, how do I handle this behavior? How do I handle her?
So let me ask you very quickly, do you, as part of your performance appraisal system, do you have the 360 approach?
Yes, sir, I do. She's actually a new staff. She just joined like 3 months ago.
Okay. Do you have any interaction or interface with her line manager, the person she's reporting to?
Yes, I do.
Please have a conversation with our line manager.
Okay.
Bring up the conversation, discuss with our line manager what she is doing and the impact it is having on our team member. And
okay.
Hopefully, our line manager will have the wisdom to bring up the matter with her in a way that will not be offensive or intrusive. It will look like, oh, like, I've worked in places where maybe after 1 month, your line manager will call you. Are you settling in? Any challenges? What are the prospects? Then there will also be, let's also give you some feedback to help you better settle in. These are some of the subtle feedback we've gotten. You may need to tone down on this, be more open or receptive to training. Then that line manager, for example, can also send maybe a book. It can be an ebook. It can be a recording on feedback or stuff like that, And if you are open, if you have a learning management system in your organization, LMS, most of them have some generic courses, part of which could involve things like this. You can intentionally assign a course or maybe on emotional intelligence and the likes to her, or get her and other people so that it doesn't look like you're picking on her, and do an internal training for them. It can be a 2-hour training. You can even be another director or manager internally that will do the training, because some of us, once you have to, you just think you must go and pay. No, it doesn't have to be external resources. But you brief the facilitator very well that this person is the target for this training, but we are pulling 5 people for 1 hour so that you can now rub it in. You have case study, you discuss, and you help the person.
Thank you so much, sir. I will do just that.
All right, Nkechi. Oh, okay, you're welcome. So we'll take Omotola next.
All right. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my sister.
Thank you very much for this wonderful session. So I want to ask, like, for instance, you're working and you have your boss, that's the HR manager and the GM, and maybe there's a clash between the manager, the GM, and your manager, your boss. So the general manager doesn't want to come to your boss, it comes to you, and you go to your boss, and so there's a friction that whereby you are just in the middle. You go to I go to my boss, and my boss is like, no, don't do it, sit down. And like, or the general manager will come and start threatening me. In that kind of situation, what do you advise, sir?
So there's one cliche in Africa that when 2 elephants are fighting, the grass will suffer. That's a cliche, but sometimes the reality and an experience we get. Here, 2 or more type of intelligences come to play: emotional intelligence and political intelligence. These 2 people are senior to you. Now, you cannot afford to join in the fight. You cannot become a party in the fight. Like our former president that said, I am for nobody and belong to everybody, or how did he say it? In this instance too, you are not for the GM, neither are you for the other leader. So just stay focused on the job. What are the organization's core values? What are the business objectives, strategic business objectives? If 2 of them are giving you assignments that tend to override, talk to them to say, oh, this is already assigned. As soon as I finish this, I will take on your project, or I will allocate 2 hours to this and 2 hours to your own. I'll get back to you by close of business today or by tomorrow. So you need wisdom. You need wisdom. If you are now close to somebody senior to both of them, for example, maybe you have rapport with a COO, MD or something, then you can engage them to say, oh, this is what you suspect is happening between these 2 people. Even though it's personal, it's also official, and it could lead to a decline in productivity in the organization. Can they mediate in the issue, in the challenge, so that they can de-escalate it and settle it? Because keeping malice at the workplace will only disrupt workflow processes, and it can lead to a costly organizational error or a loss to the organization if not well handled. So those will be my quick suggestions and tips for you to handle that situation. I hope that's quite helpful.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. We'll take Faiza Lawal next. Faiza, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you. First, I would like to appreciate you for this session. And honestly, I needed it at the right time. Okay, so before I happened to be a general coordinator of an organization, and I just decided to resign because I wanted to further in my HR career, plus some personal things are happening. But later I was invited again to come and embrace an admin role. which I felt, okay, I'm someone that had passion for HR, and I've started my CIPM. So I decided, okay, let me give it a shot. In fact, I would say it's just like this evening, I was able to seal off some deal with the head of the organization. So this your seminar was just in time for me to learn some things. However, like I said, I have like zero experience on HR functions. I just want you to please guide me on like 5 things or basic steps that I just need to take, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question and for sharing with us. First and foremost, I think you're on the right step. That you have already enrolled for CIPM is a very fantastic and timely step. Read not just to pass the exams, read to also understand the concepts and the insights provided by the study materials. And if you are taking that you should be part of and you should join. If you are not part of it, join us. Ask this question on the WhatsApp group. There are no 5 steps, so to speak, anywhere for anything. The 5 steps will be relative. But again, you have taken the first step. Professionalism is always one of the 5 steps. Let me put it that way. 2, asking questions from the people you are working with, your line manager, and working with them to say, oh, what do you need me to do? And why is it important? Why do we need to do it? Questions. Was there somebody in that role before you? Is that person I invite the person to lunch, dinner, breakfast, or something? And say, oh, what are the pitfalls to watch out for? What counsel advice do you have for me? What suggestions do you have for me? There will also be other people, maybe that role interfaces with either peer level or senior level or subordinate level. Build a good rapport with all these people and be professional. Just do your very best. Learn on the job. Take feedback. Take guidance and counsel, and put in your best and continue to learn as you go. Joan, you have the floor. Joan, it's ready. Let's move on to Ahmed Abiodun. Then we come to Beth.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, sir, for this webinar. So, I'm new to HR. Not really new. I'm like 11 months. So, I've done recruitment. So now there's a rotation in the company where I'm into learning and development, exit, confirmation, and all of that. So now my question is, um, I usually make mistakes. Perhaps maybe I'm under pressure, so I don't go over my work. So, paying attention to details is, I want to ask if it's important to my brand. So I can make these mistakes every time, but is quite, should I say, worrisome? It's not worrisome. It's not like I make it every day, but I feel like there's just a whole lot of work to be done, and I have deadlines to meet. So I try to get the urgent ones done. So for example, my line manager had given me work to do on training um program. So I'd called some people, some vendors, and I had done everything he had told me to do. So I did it, I submitted it, and then sometimes he checks what I do, but then I think he didn't now check it. So anyway, he got feedback from the HR director, and it was not good. So apparently I had made a mistake, and then he was furious. So he said, but he had already sent me something. So the thing was, I had put a grade level, a lower grade level for a director. I didn't see it. I don't know why I didn't see that aspect. Maybe I was tired or I was under pressure. So the question is, is it important for the brand, for my brand? And is there any
Thank you.
performance improvement, or are there any consequences if I keep doing it over and over again?
Okay, thank you so much, Joan. Let me first of all say that you are a very strong woman and you are a very brave woman. Few people have the presence of mind to share their vulnerability on a public platform like this. And I give you kudos. I commend you and I celebrate you. Now, you have alluded to the fact that you are barely 11 months on the job. Let me say here, it's not untypical or uncharacteristical of people who are new in a role in an organization, in an industry, to make mistake. Again, I also commend you for that. You see, let me also say this, and I'm not saying this because I'm in education. Mistakes is part of the learning, it's part of the tuition. It's like going to a business school. It's just that when we make mistakes, it could be embarrassing because there could be immediate consequences. Having said that, he said, go and sin no more. So I also say, go and make no more mistakes or no further mistakes. Now, what can you put in place to help you make mistake? Now, speaking as a person, it's easier for me to make a mistake in the evening than in the morning. I am a morning person. I'm sharper in the morning than in the evening. That's why I don't like doing meetings in the morning, so that I can use it to work. Then let's do meetings in the evening when I'm less, because that does not require the level of attention to detail. No matter what you do in life, attention to detail will always be critical. So if because of this, you say you want to change job, you want to change role, you will always meet the need, the requirement for attention to detail. You just need to say, can you get an office body that can be like your second in command or a friend internally first, because I don't want company information to go out. Or if the kind of things you do are not so sensitive, if there's another friend outside that you can trust to help you check. So offline now, even though this online, there are people I've worked with, some very sensitive, but because of my level of confidentiality, they'll send it to me and say, Oluyemi, please help me check this. And I'll check in 30 minutes, discover something, or sometimes don't discover anything and say back. Just like a level of assurance or reassurance. So it can be your colleague. That is better, so that you are not giving sensitive information to help you check. The other thing is, how can you also incorporate checking into your workflow? So it may mean that after you have done the assignments, make sure that, I know you've mentioned deadlines and timeframes. Try as much as possible to start your assignment and task early, so that you have some time before the deadline, so that you can recheck and revalidate. And you can also maybe go to a colleague to say, please help me look at this. Most managers and leaders in organization are very forgiving. Yes, they may bear the consequences of the errors, but it too is jointly and severally liable. When your subordinate sends something to you, no matter how perfect that subordinate is, the onus lies on you to have a second look. That's why you're a manager, a supervisor in the first place. And that's why you are not the one sending it to the director directly. It's to provide overview. But just be calm and forgive yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's a learning curve. You get better. And please don't quit on yourself, please. All right. I hope that's helpful, Joanne. All right. So quickly take Ahmed Abiodun.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Ahmed Abiodun, please.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead, my brother.
Thank you so much for this session. So my question is simple. From the angle of personal branding, you made mention of when you get to meet with a particular candidate, probably that came for a job, and he states that he has a certification with a professional body, that you always like to engage the candidates regarding the sphere of the certification, right? So based on that, I like to know, is it really needed, or is it a determining factor if the candidate fails to answer a question correctly in the sphere of the certification, probably a question within, let me use CIPM now as an example. A candidate tells you he is a student member or an associate member of CIPM, and you ask them a question within learning and development to answer a particular theory postulated by an HR professional, and probably at that time the candidate could not, recall what the theory states. Is it a ground? I'm asking, is it a ground to disqualify the candidates for that job opening? Should it be a determining factor?
All right. Thank you so much, Ahmed Adeosun. So I will not be able to hold forth for all recruiters because that would be unfair of me to do so. There are differences and preferences. There are also selection criteria. So I'm not privy to what their interview rating standards or scripts are, and the things that are desirable, the things that are mandatory, and the things that are optional. So if I listen to your question now, I will look at it from one perspective, which will not be the only perspective. However, in responding to you, I'm not going to give you a unidirectional response. I'll give you a multidirectional response. So if the role you are applying for example, is an L&D role, and the theory is a critical L&D theory, I can mention one or two at the top of my head. For example, if you are coming for an L&D specialist role and you don't know, what's his name? Kirkpatrick, K-I-R-K Patrick. You don't know Kirkpatrick. That's one of the cardinal theories in evaluation, learning evaluation. Bros, it's a no-no for me. But if you are coming in for HR generalist role, I'm not going to ask you one question. Don't forget that most exams in school is not one question. Have you done any exam in school that is one question? They probably give you maybe 5 questions, answer 3, 7 questions, answer 5. They not take the weighted average. So one single question should not be the determinant of an interview. So if the interview, maybe we ask you 8 questions. It's okay to miss 1 or 2 or 3 of 8. You understand what I mean? If you get 5 or 6 well, then we move on. But it's not subject to, is it a generalist role or a specialist role? If it is a specialist role, for example, maybe in payroll, you are coming in for a payroll comp and ben specialist, and I ask you the taxation that applies to first 300,000 and the difference, and you don't know it, my brother, it's an unforgivable, at least not for this role. You can learn and go and apply for comp and ben and that organization. It's not going to be pardonable in that context. So that will be my response to you. Now, if any hiring manager or any organization, so to speak, does not hire you based on a particular question you couldn't answer, don't also take offense. That's one organization. Keep applying to other places. Your brilliance will shine forth in the relevant places. I hope I've been helpful, Ahmed. Thank you. I think we'll take Vanessa next.
Thanks.
So we'll take Vanessa. Vanessa, you can unmute now. Okay, I think we can take Beth or Abu Razak.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Abu.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time, and besides, this session has been knowledge full. So my question is, for the branding part of it, do you think, or I mean, what's your opinion on generalizing what your, let's say, maybe your profile is across all social media platforms? For example, maybe you have same kind of picture on for LinkedIn, for WhatsApp, for Instagram, Twitter, or maybe there's a way you actually set up your bio that speaks to uniformity or something. And then secondly, the other question I would that I have in mind is, for example, you have a boss that does not allow you, or does not allow you bring your own maybe creativity to make things easier or simple, depending, because of maybe the generational difference or something, and then maybe when you try to say, if we try this thing this way, I think we'll be able to achieve this faster, it saves times, quality, and amongst other things. But then this boss does not allow you bring in that innovation or bring in that your innovative view into it to getting things done. What do you think is the best way to manage that superior because of the cadre or office, or because you report directly to him or her?
All right, I'll respond very quickly to your two questions. Thank you for asking those questions. With respect to consistency and uniformity across your social media platforms, it is good if you are doing that. Just make sure that you are doing the right thing. Because if, for example, the picture you are using is a bad picture, that means you have a bad picture across the board. So make sure that you have the right image and what is describing you most aptly. For example, I'm just saying this, it doesn't have to be this. So maybe you say HR practitioner. That's what you have there, HR practitioner. Maybe you now have some other things. So for example, maybe you are also a golfer. So you say HR practitioner, golfer, children teacher, or children instructor, dance instructor, and everywhere. So that if people need HR, they contact you. If people need a dance instructor for their children because you can take it professionally, it's okay. But don't now go and put on your bio, you just put something, one religious affiliation. If you are not a full-time minister, I don't think you need that. You understand my thought, I may be wrong. I'm speaking from my limited perspective. Now, quickly to your second question. There's a proverb that the person we meet in the village is the father. You see, there's also a concept called RASI. R stands for who is what? Who is responsible. A stands for who is accountable. Look, there's an adage that says that what an old man is seeing from afar, a young person may not see it climbing on something. The person that you met there, that is your boss, that is any more than you, even when you have information, your loyalty is to politely, professionally communicate your comments, your thoughts, your observation to him. However, if he listens to you and decides to do otherwise or do something different, as long as what he's telling you to do is documented, so that if Yawa gas or if there's a backlash, you can't deny it and pin it on you, then you're fine. And don't say, oh, yesterday I gave him advice, he didn't take it. So today, you now have a suggestion or idea or brainwave, you now keep it. If you do that, you'll be killing your own initiative and creativity. However, the final comment on this, you can also say, okay, I've given this suggestion or advice. Sir, please, just for my learning and growth, can you tell me maybe why you are not considering it or why you are not adopting it, so that can help me, in my thinking pattern or behavior. You understand what I mean? Very politely. And please don't take offense. This is very, very important. That same person can become a sponsor for your career growth tomorrow. I hope I've been helpful. So we take Vanessa or Beth, whoever speaks first. We have just two more people providing.
Thank you.
Yeah. We can hear you, Vanessa. Or speak and we will hear you. Okay. Vanessa's network has taken her out. So we take the final voice comments or question today. Beth, you have the floor. You are the last person speaking today. Okay. So let us assume that Beth involuntarily raised hand up. So let me just check very briefly if there's any question I can still respond to so that I can wrap up in the next, say, 5 minutes or thereabouts. Thank you so much, everybody, for your feedback on the group, on the chat group. I appreciate. I'm just quickly scanning through here. Okay, all right. So somebody here is sent me a direct message, I think, or is it a public message? So, okay, say the top, okay, no problem about that. I just have the title as HR because I'm undergoing CIPM training. It's a construction company, but I don't have anyone I'm working with directly as an HR. I have to figure it all out. I don't even know what to do sometimes because I really want to go fast in the field. But I have no one to learn from. What do you advise? Join an HR community, like HR mentorship. Then there's a video on my page. My page is Oluyemi Adeosun on YouTube. If you are not there, please go there. Oluyemi Adeosun on YouTube. We did a webinar on when you are the only HR, one man, one sole HR, HR of one. There is a webinar that we did, like 90 minutes, speaking on what to do, how to go about it when you are the only HR staff in your organization. That webinar will help you. Okay, go to my, for anybody here, please go to Oluyemi Adeosun. Go through all the videos. We have 315, no, 317. So if I add this one, it will be 380. Go through, you will always see one webinar that will meet your current question, most likely. If there's none and you reach out to me, we will do a webinar because of you to address your question. But you are not alone. There are many people who are HR of one in an organization. So an HR community, you can come, drop your questions, your thoughts. Other people can either validate it or help you expand your thoughts and so on and so forth. But this is the last opportunity to speak if your hands are raised intentionally.
Yes.
So before you speak, hold on, Beth. Just hold on, Beth. Just hold on, Beth. So Fatima Nasiru says,
it's really. Okay, sir.
okay, speak. I can hear you. All right. Fatima Nasiru says here that you are in an organization where attrition is very high, employees are overwhelmed, everything seems complex, and you really want to fix things, but you're overwhelmed. And in a bit not to break down, you have started looking away, and you think it's beginning to affect the quality of the job. What do you do or advise? As long as you are somewhere drawing a paycheck, receiving your salary, do your best. Do your best, not because the organization deserves it. They do because they are paying your salary. But do your best in your own interest. Because if you drop your capability or your output, it's going to somehow show when you are intervening in an organization. It always shows somehow. I don't know. I can't explain it scientifically. So you need to like almost be strong so that when you interview, you come across as also strong, not something that just want out. You know, nobody wants somebody that wants out. They want somebody who is excelling where they are and want to even excel more. But try and see, are there people you can talk to internally? You know, there may be one or two stakeholders who may be able to wade in or provide some support. Because sometimes you will think you will leave the organization in 1 month and 1 year later you are still there. So you want to make sure that what is working, okay, count your blessings. What are the things you are thankful for? Don't be too fixated on the things that are not working. You know, some things we think we are suffering. Some people are praying for that kind of sufferness, in quotes. You know, so look for what is working, see the kind of value you can add, and please keep your head up. All right. Yes, Temitope, it's good to get a mentor, but don't get me. Temitope, don't get me. I'm too senior for you. The kind of people I provide direct mentorship for are people that have big institutional problems. Your problem will be too trivial for me. I have many people I have mentored that can mentor you. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I like to solve problems my level, not problems I've overcome But if you are in the group, people will, but if you speak with me directly, I can give you a method. The method won't look special, because that's what you need. Me, I won't have time for you. You can message me, I will respond to you 4 weeks later. It's the kind of method you need. And I'm not doing shakara. So, Beth, let's take you now or never. Thank you, everyone, for holding forth. Thank you for joining.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you very much, sir, for this evening. So first of all, I want to start with something I knew when I was in secondary school. Something my teacher used to say was, longevity of a lie does not make it the truth. The fact that a lie has been existing for so long does not automatically make the lie the truth. So there's this colleague of mine. She's not in my department. She's not an HR person. Just the fact that, so I joined an organization 3 months ago, and when I got in, it's been insightful. I've been able to share new ideas, and we've been working in the new, will I say new age way of doing things. So there's this particular lady that used to be part of the committee for a particular HR duty, staff welfare. And so my organization provides food for staff, both lunch and dinner. So they provide food for staff. And so my organization provides food for staff, and there's this particular lady that sits in the committee. She's way older. I think she's like in her 40s. She sits in the committee because she has been in the organization for so long. And the only HR that was there is a guy, right? So, and now he has 2 females, me and my other colleague. We both were the female working with him. He is our HR manager. So when we're talking to vendors, when we're doing negotiation, when we're talking to staff concerning what their preference and everything is, because the lady has been the one doing it for so long, now instead of informing us, she's now inviting us. So what I mean us is, instead of HRO taking out some duties, she's now doing it and inviting us. So I had to call her to order.
I think Beth's network is not very friendly. I don't know whether she joined us from Canada, Australia, or from Europe. In Nigeria, our network is very good. We don't have network issues here. But I add her a little, even though I know she's here to land. Again, what's our source documents? Our source document in HR, for example, could be our job description. We may need to refer back to our job description. We may also need to refer back to our team lead or our HOD for guidance to say who is responsible for what. Because you are responsible for something in the past does not mean you will always be responsible for it in the future or in the present. And people sometimes have issues letting go because they have attached value. They are already deriving their value from that responsibility. And new people taking up that responsibility is almost making them feel irrelevant or undervalued or eroding their worth. They may also need counseling and some reassurance and comforting. Hopefully, new assignments can also be assigned to them, or some of the assignment that is still written with them, they may need to do it at a greater level of detail and higher level of in-depth so that they can get it. Exactly, I understand. Why most people find it difficult, well, some people, not most now, find it difficult to let go from things like vendor is because of kickbacks or appreciation. in some instances, or a combination of kickback and appreciation. And there are instances where, and I'm not saying you should do this, but I've seen instances where when these kind of things were suspected, in collaboration with internal audits, people have been set up and they fell prey to the setup so that there will be hardcore evidence, and anybody who is gaining from the vendor is probably making the organization lose. Don't take the organization's commonwealth as an individual and let all the majority of the stakeholders here, including employees, the business owners, be at the receiving end. So I won't say set her up so that you have hardcore evidence, because you also don't want to accuse somebody of bribery or corruption without hardcore evidence. But some instances, you may need to discuss with internal your auditors. They may be able to find a way to authenticate and validate this data. Or they may be able to call and say, this is from this. If this is no longer your portfolio, if you are no longer assigned this responsibility, you will not be measured by it, you will not be judged by it. Then if you take on the job in this context, you are not taking initiative. You are just trying to be fraudulent and trying to pollute the system. Okay, and that is insubordination. So speak to a more senior person, more senior than you and that person, who will be objective and not just look at how long that person has stayed in the organization. Someone can look at it dispassionately, read in between the lines. Ladies and gentlemen, this has probably been my best 2 hours of today, and it's a great way to start the week. I think at some point we are about 100. I thank everybody who joined this call. Those who started this call and ended this call, those who joined and left, those who joined partway and stayed to the end, those who joined midway and left partway. I love you guys. We'll do this again very soon. Thank you so much. Please catch some rest and have a productive week ahead. Thank you. I love you guys. Good night.